9 or 10 a day, so 10 hours of clients a day, plus drive time. And I would pick my son up from school, and I would actually take him back to work with me, and he'd be in kids club until 8 o'clock at night, and we'd get home, and dinner, and baths, and bed, and start it all over again. And it's long days for me, and it's a really long day for a 4-year-old. And there was definitely moments of feeling really, really bad about making him have such long days, but knowing, like, okay, this is what mommy does, like, because mommy has bills to pay too. You know, it's not, daddy's not taking care of us. It's like, I do my part, and we split everything 50-50, and that was that. And I had been working on creating a portion control product, and at the time it was called Change My Plate. And it was about 2 years in the making and a lot of money, and it was finally done, and I had given it to a few of my clients to try out. And one of my clients, who happens to be very big in the movie industry, had the CEO of Sony at her house one day. And he's overweight, apparently, so she tells me. And she was politely trying to make a reference to him to try something to lose some weight. And so she showed him Change My Plate, and she said, oh, look what my trainer created. Isn't this so cool? And he looked at it and could really care less for himself, but he goes, oh, that's really cool. I think I know somebody who might be interested. Can I pass it on? And she calls me and she says, can you pass it on? And I was like, well, yeah, sure. Who's he passing it on to? And she goes, I guess somebody at Beachbody? And I'm like, what? And I was like, who? Okay. Yeah. And she's like, oh, do you know them? And I was like, duh. And so he passes it on to a friend of his who happens to be a woman by the name of Heather Church. If you don't know Heather Church, she's the head of product development at Beachbody. So if you have something you've created, she's who you want it to go to. And she called me the next day. And I was like, whoa, okay. And we talk, and she's like, I really love what you've created here, and we want to meet you and bring you in for a meeting with our CEO and blah, blah, blah. And this was in December, and so she's like, we're going to do it after the holidays. I'm like, great. I get off the phone, freaking out. My heart is racing. I call my best friend. I'm like, oh my God, like, what do I do? Do I need to go in with an attorney? Like, I'm going to meet the CEO. Like, I don't know what, like, I'm not, okay, like, I get business, but at the end of the day, like, I'm a fitness person, okay? Like, I don't know business. Definitely do not feel prepared to sit down with the CEO of Beachbody and be like, hey, do you want to buy my product? And so like, I talked to the attorney, and he's like, okay, this is what you need to know going in, but I'm not going to come with you. Like, don't jump the gun. Don't get too excited. You know, the chances are slim. And that's all everybody kept saying to me. The chances are slim. The chances are slim. Yeah, I'm very aware of that. I've kind of been at this for a minute or two, and there have been a lot of doors closed in my face along the way, and there have been a lot of almosts where I got real close. I actually was supposed to replace Jillian Michaels on The Biggest Loser once, and then they picked Anna Kournikova over me. So they're like, it's you or it's Anna, and I was like, yeah, and guess what? I'm really glad they picked Anna, because it was a year and a half later that I got this. 4 months of auditioning to replace Jillian Michaels, and I got down to the last person, and they picked somebody else. That was a very big kick in the pants, and I was like, God, how many times am I going to get this close and have the door shut in my face? So I went into that meeting, and in walks Carl, and in walks Heather, and like 9 other people. We're sitting at this massive round table, and I'm like, throw up. I hope they can't see the sweat that is running down every orifice of your body right now. And like Carl's explaining all of it and how it works, and he's like, it's great, and if this all sounds good to you, you know, and we make you an offer, you'll sign on the dotted line, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, where's the dotted line? What are we waiting for? Let's do this. And so I leave the meeting, and I'm like, okay, I feel really good about it, and then I started like really questioning everything I said in the meeting, and they had asked me at one point to like describe myself as a trainer, and I probably stuttered a lot. And so I got home, and I actually like emailed Heather again, and like I was like, I feel like I was really nervous, and so I kind of want to clarify like who I am as a trainer. Like send her like this long email, and she sends me one back, and she's like, well, thank you for that, but you actually did a great job. And I was like, okay, cool, like that's great to know, because a lot of times you come out of situations and you doubt yourself, and you doubt what you've said, and was it good enough, and is it gonna be good enough? And it took about 3.5 weeks till I got another email. Oh my God, do you know how many times I check my email a day? It was like every 45 seconds. I was like, did they email me yet? And finally, I got the email. And I was like, oh my God, they're gonna make me an offer. And then took like 3 more weeks for them to actually make the offer. And finally, by March, made the offer, and we signed on the dotted line, and we went into full production on everything, which was amazing. And then we got to the week before we were filming the workouts, which until you film the workouts, there's no guarantee, by the way, that your product is actually going to be launched. I didn't know that until we actually filmed, when they were like, welcome to the Beachbody family, and I was like, what do you mean? I've been here for a year. But we're in the week before, I'm busting my butt. Rehearsals are 9 hours a day, and because, you know, I like to think I'm Superwoman and take everything on at once, I was also competing that weekend. So Monday through Friday, we were doing 9 hours of rehearsal. I was carb depleting, I was dehydrated, and on Saturday morning, I was going to take the stage, and then the following week, we were filming. Who does that, by the way? This crazy girl does. We're 3 days into rehearsal, I'm stressed, and I'm crabby, because I need a yellow container in my life. I have one. And I get a phone call from my ex-husband, and literally, I'm on my lunch break in rehearsals. And he says, I lost my job today, and I'm moving back to San Diego in 8 days. I'm sorry, what? Whirlwind hit me. Like, literally, I was like, well, I don't understand what you're even saying right now. I can't deal with this right now. I'm gonna go finish rehearsal, and we're gonna talk about this later. But basically, he was like, look, I want to take Dominic with me to San Diego. And I was like, you're out of your damn mind. You're not taking my kid anywhere. But in the meantime, this is the same person who lives a mile from me, who I would call and just be like, hey, I have to work late. Can you grab him? Okay, great. He took him to school every morning so I could go see my 5 clients in the morning early before I went to the gym. And all of a sudden, he was gone. And I had no idea how I was going to handle it, except that I had to handle it. So I was like, no, you bye. Like, I'll figure it out. But also, I had no more financial support coming from him. And even though, I'll get real personal and say, I don't take alimony and I don't take child support from him, we split everything 50-50, there was no longer 50-50. It was, guess what? You're taking it all on. And by the way, you probably have to hire help because there's not enough hours in the day to do it all. So on that 3rd day of rehearsals, I found out that my best friend was moving away, the father of my child was moving away, and I didn't know what that was going to do to him. And I was taking on about $6,500 a month more in bills. And by the way, 21 Day Fix had not launched yet, so I was still living paycheck to paycheck from my training job. Oh my God, breathe. And I literally went home and had a panic attack that night, like full-on anxiety attack. Called one of my very good guy friends and could barely breathe on the phone talking to him, and he's like, where are you and what is happening? And he came over and I lost my shit. And he literally was like, you're gonna have to get it together because you have to go do what you do, Autumn. And he's like, you're gonna be fine, you're always fine, pull it together. And I was like, all right, you're right, pull it together. I go to bed that night, I wake up the next day, I'm like, all right, I got this. Like, just get through this week. And I did. I got through rehearsals, and I went to the stage on Saturday morning, and I took 6, so it was top 10, and I felt really great about it. And I was like, awesome. Okay, I've got 2 days to recover, and we're going into filming. I took my 2 days to myself, and I recovered. And the night before filming came, and even though I had been in a straight panic for the week leading up to it, I was beyond calm. It was like, just the wave of calm came over me, and I said, you're not going to leave the soundstage until you've done it right. So why are you worried? Just go in there and do what you do and have fun. And I went to bed and I slept great, unbelievably. I got up the next day and I went in and it was awesome because they bring you your coffee and you're like, oh yeah, thanks. And they put you in hair and makeup and everybody fusses about you and everybody is there. My boss is there and Carl's there and the producer. I mean, literally, like there's so many people there and I'm just like, and I walk out onto the set, and the producer comes out, she gives me a few notes, and she's like, okay, blah, 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 blah. Don't worry, just breathe. Let's just go for it. We'll see what happens. I'm like, all right, great. And they yell action. 30 minutes later, they yell cut, and I was like, great. And I look up, because it's dark, so they kind of put the lights back on, and I look up, and everybody's like this. And I'm like, oh my God, what did I do wrong? I'm like, oh my God, I must have screwed up really bad. And the producer comes out, and she is beyond feisty. Like, seriously, this woman scares the shit out of me. Okay? No joke. Like, she is the #1 fitness producer that there is. So she, like, yeah, she scares me. She walked out and she was like, she calls me Boo. She walks out and she goes, Boo. And I was like, what? She goes, girlfriend. Nobody does that. And I was like, nobody does what? And she's like, you nailed it on the first try. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Yay. And she's like, I mean, one more for safety, but it was great. And I was like, awesome. And we did another one for safety. We took the next 9 days and we filmed, and the rest is history. And here we are. And thank you guys for all the amazing work you have done. But the moral of that story is, yes, life will always knock you down, but you got to pick yourself up because you never know when that phone call is coming and life will change. So even when you struggle, just keep going.